Hello everybody, welcome back to another Not a Canadian video. This is the second episode of the Change My Mind series, and today we'll be discussing Apex Legends in the LGBTQ community. So recently, I found out that two characters in the game are represented in the LGBTQ community, and before I say anything poor about this, I like every single person. It doesn't matter who you are, I like you as a person. But the issue is that when they push their agenda in video games or in other media kind of pisses me off, and I think it pisses off a lot of people as well. If you're wondering who these two characters are, they are Bloodhound, pictured here, and Gibraltar, who is pictured here. He's a nice guy. He's fat and black, and gay, so everybody's represented. I wouldn't have an issue with these characters, except for the fact that the two white male characters are locked behind a paywall that you either A, have to grind out the game for, or B, pay real money so that you can actually use them. This really pisses me off because the game was branded as a game for everybody and not just a game for this group and, everyone else. It also really ticks me off that, like, your main demographic is probably white males or males in general, but if the only males represented are gay and non-binary, kind of takes away from this game being for everybody, and it's kind of just a game to push your social justice warrior propaganda, which no one likes. For a game that's meant for everybody, I feel disconnected. Bloodhound was like the only character I could mildly assimilate with, because he wore a mask and you can't see what's underneath it. But now, I know that he's non-binary. I mean, for all I know, he could be a shark. Okay? He could be a shark. And that just kind of really defeats the purpose, I think, of having the masked character. Because he could theoretically assimilate with everybody. You don't need to have him as non-binary in his character bio. He can just be completely unknown. Like, gender unknown is better than saying he's non-binary for 100%. Oh, but what's the big deal if he's completely unknown? Again, the big deal is that he wears a mask, so you can interpretate that as whatever you want. With Gibraltar, I mean, the man is like a wrecking ball, he actually has a face to him. So you can actually put his sexuality and shit to him. But if he doesn't wear a mask, you can do that. If he does wear a mask, you can interpret that as whatever you want. It can be your own interpretation, and you can make the character instead of being told who the character is, his gender, his everything. He would have been the perfect character for everybody, except that they made him non-binary. And especially since the two white characters are locked behind paywalls, you know, you're basically alienating a group of players because they don't have a character to connect to. And that character for some people could have been Bloodhound because he wears a mask. For me, I'm probably still gonna play Bloodhound. I don't really care. It doesn't, affect my experience at all. I mean, I didn't even really care before. I mean, I'm only making this because it's a fucking video game. They don't need to have backstories. I mean, if they do, they can just be interpretive, You don't need to say, you don't need to include his sexuality in a game. You don't need to include anything like that. You can just say, oh, he's from this planet, he's this gender, whatever. Or in the case of Bloodhound, you could say gender unknown, age unknown, homeworld unknown, like it does in the Wikipedia page, except for the fact he's non-binary. Video games really shouldn't be a place for people to think about social issues and other issues like that. It should be a place for everyone to let loose. But it might take away from people's enjoyment if they have to think about, oh, this guy's non-binary. I mean, I don't know, he might not want to do blank, blank, and blank because of it. And that could really take away, and it might also discourage people from playing it if they hate the LGBTQ community, which is completely against the oh, this game's for everyone mentality. I think if EA really wanted, they'd probably learn from Battlefield to stop pushing their social propaganda, but they obviously didn't, and they still want to push it out there, which I mean, it's I have mixed feelings about it. I don't think it deserves a place in video games, and they really shouldn't have ruined Battlefield 5 like that. by adding women to like the front lines. Because keep in mind, like in World War II, they could have easily like they were snipers for Russia and shit. And like even in Battlefield 1, they added women as snipers for some of the actual battles where they actually took place. But in Battlefield 5, they decided women have to be everywhere and they must be in the game at every single second. I think what EA has to do is limit their social justice warrior propaganda. They need to like just chill for you know. Don't like put it out there, but like you can have it in the game, but don't make it like a main focus. Like with Battlefield 5, you know, there's literally a woman on the cover. You're literally putting your social propaganda front and center. With Apex Legends, there's like now a shit ton of articles coming out about, oh, this character is LGBTQ, this character is LGBTQ. It's like, I don't need to see that. I just want to play the game. I don't want to learn about, you know, why X gender is better than Y gender, or how, you know, having 12 black characters in the game with 13 different hairstyles is socially progressive. I think if we really want to become more socially progressive, we have to like not even almost like don't even bring awareness to it, because if you bring awareness to it, more issues come up. People don't know if there's issues unless you bring awareness, and more awareness brings more issues. So I think it would probably be best to like start, you know, rolling back a little bit on the social justice warrior shit, you know? You don't need to promote LGBTQ communities and women's rights in every single goddamn game you play, because this is 2 EA games in a row that have this, and then I believe even in Anthem that's coming out, there's like no like love story or some shit, and that they're all friends, because they didn't want to convey any sort of like, I don't know, straight love story. I really don't understand it. But, you know, overall, Apex is still a good game. This new information isn't going to affect how I play. I think that's just kind of useless, and it really doesn't serve a purpose in the game. And, like, it doesn't change how the game is played. It's not like they introduce, like, some overpowered weapon. It's just useless information that doesn't need to be there. And I think that's what pisses me off the most, is that it doesn't need to be in the game. There's no use for it, and, like, anyone who plays the game probably doesn't really care about it. But what I don't like is, like, this, like, double standard thing, where if probably the black lesbian character was locked behind a paywall, the SJW LGBTQ community would be up in arms about it. But since both the characters are white males, they're like, no, it doesn't really matter, it's progressive, you know, you're forced to play as other characters. When in reality, they're branding the game for everybody, but everybody can't connect to the characters, because one of the main demographics is locked behind a paywall. And I really think like that's like the, you know, that's like probably the only downfall to this whole situation. But it's being brushed away because, you know, it's not really an issue due to like male privilege and white privilege. I personally think this game's a decent game, and it has a lot of potential for the future. And, you know, overall, in the end, it really doesn't matter if the character is gay, LGBTQ, non-binary, whatever. I mean, I don't care, I'm still gonna play the game. It's just really annoying how that a bunch of news articles are covering this, you know, they're bringing light to 2 characters being, you know, part of the LGBTQ community, when, like, you know, they're not mentioning, hey, the 2 white characters are behind a paywall. I mean, that's all I've got to say about this. I hope you relatively enjoyed the video. I mean, the gameplay is probably not too interesting, as it's from one of my first games. So, I mean, I kinda suck, and so do my friends. But, you know, I might bring that live comm sometime with them, you know, might actually win a game. That'd be pretty cool. Alright, thanks for watching. Not a Canadian is out.
I'm down. What? Use your your super, Roman?
I used my super. I will assist you. For some reason, I died. I used my super.
Thanks, brother.
The show which well.
Gotta heal. Taking a knee.
Your time is not over.
On us. On this door.
I don't like this game, by the way.